Hi, this is Adam from Wilderness Systems Kayaks. Today we'll be walking you through the installation of the Helix PD pedal drive system. The tools needed for this installation are a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, a number 1 Phillips head screwdriver, a flat screwdriver, a number 8 hex key, a 3/16 hex key, and a 3/32 hex key, a 15mm wrench, a 3/8 wrench, a power drill, a 7/32 drill bit, a pair of scissors or cutters, a lighter, and a measuring device. Included in your Helix PD pedal drive kit are the mounting base, a rudder, 2 noise reduction baffles, the drive, a left and right crank arm, 2 crank bolts, a left and right pedal, steering control, and 3 hardware kits. Next we'll assemble the Helix pedal drive. You'll need the drive, the left and right pedal, the left and right crank arm, the 2 crank bolts, an 8mm hex key, and a 15mm wrench. Start by placing the drive unit on a flat surface with the propeller facing up. You'll start with the right crank arm. You'll notice it's the right crank arm by the R stamped into the back of the arm near the threads. To install it, make sure that the right crank arm is going to be facing up so that the propeller stays in line with the unit. Use the crank arm bolt and make sure that you tighten it fully. Next we'll move to the left crank. And the left crank has to be installed 180 degrees from the right so that it's pointing straight down. The crank bolt on this side is reverse threaded, so you'll need to tighten it by going clockwise. The reason it's important to make sure that the right crank arm is facing upward is so that the unit, and the propeller are all in alignment so that it can be removed from the boat. Next we'll install the pedals. The right pedal is notated by the groove set at the bottom of the pedal. Use the 15mm wrench to tighten it. Then install the left pedal. The left pedal is reverse threaded as well, so it will tighten by going in a clockwise direction. Now the unit's fully assembled. The next step is to install the latches and the latch hangers. You'll install the hanger on the unit itself. We'll start by taking a number 1 Phillips head screwdriver, remove the 2 screws from their inserts, place the hanger so that the opening points down to the bottom of the unit, and then reinstall the screws. Start one side, then start the other, and then tighten fully. Next we'll install the latches on the base. Start by removing the screws from the base. Open the latch to expose the mounting holes. Insert a screw into the latch, and then install the latch on the base. This is how the latches should look when the screws are fully installed. The next step is to install the base. You'll need the base, the cotter pin with tether, the 1/4 20 screws, the 1/4 inch washers, and the quick release pin from package A, and the Phillips head screwdriver. Next, we'll remove the FlexPod PD from the boat. Start by removing the rear screw. Next, move to the 2 front screws. Remove the pod, and then remove the 2 filler screws that come in the boat. Next, we'll install the mounting base. Make sure that the opening of the mounting base is facing the back of the boat. Place the mounting base on top of the molded in inserts that are in the boat. This is the same area where we removed the FlexPod PD earlier. Take a 1/4 screw, place it in a washer, and start at the back of the mounting plate and install the screws. Make sure that you install the right front screw last. Take the cotter pin with the tether, insert the screw through the hole in the tether, and place that on top of the mounting bracket, and then install that screw. Next, make sure that the bracket is aligned in the boat, and then tighten the screws fully. Lastly, you'll install the quick release pin from the left side of the boat to the right side. Then put the cotter pin in to lock the quick release pin in place. The next step requires you to turn your kayak over. We'll be installing the noise reduction baffles. In order to do that, you'll need the baffles, a number 2 screwdriver. We'll start by removing the filler screws in the hull of the boat. To install the brushes, look for the step side of the brush. Turn the brush so that that step aligns with the step in the hole. Place the brush on top of the channel. Use the screws that you removed from the bottom of the boat to reinstall the brushes. To install the unit, first you'll remove the cotter pin from the quick release pin. Remove the quick release pin. Take the drive and set it down in the mounting block. Hold it at an angle. Now you'll put the quick release pin through the unit. Once the quick release pin is installed, place the cotter pin back in to secure the unit fully to the boat. In order to deploy the pedal drive, pull the pedal drive up into an upright position, lock the latches in place, push down on the drive until it clicks, and now it's fully deployed. In order to retract it, you're going to depress the foot lever, release the latches, and then move the pedal drive into a stowed position. Now we'll install the steering control. In order to do that, you'll need the steering control and a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. The first thing we're going to do is remove the cover on the steering control port. We're going to retain these screws to use to reinstall the steering control. Take the cover and set it to the side. Then we'll unwind the control lines on the steering control. Take the line that goes over the top of the pulley and run it through the top rudder tube And take the other line, start feeding it into the bottom recess, and continue feeding until the lines exit the rear of the kayak. Once the lines exit the back of the kayak, go to the stern of the kayak and pull the lines tight. Once you get most of the slack pulled out of the control lines, place the upper control line into the groove on the pulley, and then place the steering control into the recess. Take the screws that you removed earlier, put one in to each wing, move to the rear of the kayak and pull the control lines tight. Now we're going to install the rudder block. The first step is to remove the filler screws that come in the back of the boat. You'll use your 3/16 Allen wrench. Take the socket head screws and place one into the lock washer. Place it on the end of the Allen head. Put it in the top hole. Then repeat for the second screw. Now we'll align the rudder block so that the bump on the top is facing up. And start each screw into the insert and then tighten fully. To install the rudder, first you'll unwrap the lift lines from the rudder. Then you'll remove the split ring from the bottom of the rudder pin. Place the rudder pin through the hole in the block. Then attach the split ring through the hole to retain the rudder in the pin. In order to install the rudder lift lines, from Pack B you'll need the 1032 flathead screws, 4 of those, 4 round pad eyes, and the rudder lift line control. To install the lift line hardware, we'll start by removing the filler screws from the recesses on the right side of the kayak. The next step is to take one of the round pad eyes. To install the round pad eye, you'll place the screw through the center of the pad eye. When you install it on the boat, you're going to want to make sure that these openings run horizontal on the boat so that the lift lines can pass down the edge of the boat. Then we'll repeat for the next 4. On the recess closest to the seat, you want to install the lift line control. In order to do that, you'll take the round pad eye, flip it over, double the control over so that the line runs around the center point. Make sure that the controls face the rear of the kayak. Place those down. Put the screw through the center. And then tighten it. Just make sure that the control moves freely back and forth. When you install the lift lines, you want the top line to be the line that it comes from the left side of the rudder, and the one that's on the right side of the rudder on the bottom side. So we'll take the one from the left side of the boat, find the end, put that through the top opening of the pad eye, we'll take the cord from the right side of the rudder, pass it through the bottom opening of the pad eye, and then continue to run the cords parallel down the boat. First thing we want to do is make sure that the rudder is in the up stowed position. And we'll take the bottom line and we'll run it through the bottom lift line control. There's a hole in the back side there. We just feed it in until it's tight. Then we're going to take our measuring device, position that control so it's 3.5 inches behind the pad eye. And we're going to tie an overhand knot in that line. And pull it down inside the control. We're going to take the top line feed it through the top control. You're going to pull that taut so that your top control ends up on the back side of the boat. Tie an overhand knot in that line and put it down inside the control. Next, we'll test the rudder to make sure it moves smoothly. Got plenty of room there. So the next step we'll take and cut the ends of the lines here using a knife or some scissors. And then using a lighter, we're going to burn the ends to keep it from fraying. Then we'll repeat on the other control. To install the steering swivels, you'll need, from Hardware Pack B, the 2 steering swivels, 2 split rings, 2 neoprene washers, and 2 set screws. You'll need a 3/32 hex key and a Phillips head screwdriver. First, we'll start the set screw into the swivel. So take and find the threaded part of the swivel and start the set screw right into it. Then we'll take and make sure that that set screw is pointed out toward the edge of the kayak. Put it up through the hole in the rudder. Place a neoprene washer on top. Place the split ring through the top hole in the steering swivel to hold it in place. Then repeat for the other side. Next, we'll put the steering lines in the rudder swivels. Find the end of the line. Find the hole in the swivel, making sure that the set screw is still facing outward. Run the steering line through the swivel. And pull out all the excess slack. Then repeat for the other side. Once you have both sides tight, move to the middle of the boat. Make sure that the steering control is set in the straight up and down position. Come back to the back of the boat. Pull the lines tight evenly. Hold the lines tight. Then tighten the set screws on each of the swivels. Be careful not to over tighten the set screws. Now we'll test the steering system. First, move the rudder into the down position. Move up to the steering control. Move it forward, move it to the back to make sure it moves smoothly. Once we've tested the rudder control to make sure it steers correctly, we'll tie an overhand knot in the end of the rope. Tie your knot so that it ends up about an inch away from the swivel. Once you have the knot in the control line, trim the excess. Trim the excess on the other side as well. Now we'll install the rudder hold down. You have the rudder hold down and the J-hook, and you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. The first thing we'll do is pry the top off of the rear handle. In order to do that, you find the seam here. Just work the screwdriver down. Then we'll take the screw out of the right side of the handle. Place the tab of the rudder hold down between the handle and the kayak, lining up the hole in the handle and the tie down. Then reinsert the screw. Then reinstall the top of the handle by snapping it back in place. We'll take the rudder and put it in a stowed position. Put the bungee through the hole of the hook. Place the hook on the rudder until you have a good amount of tension. And tie an overhand knot in the bungee. Then reinstall to test the tension. To install the stowage trap, you're going to need a drill, the contents of hardware kit C, a Phillips screwdriver, a 3/8 inch wrench, and a 7/32 drill bit. The first step is to find the star marks on the vertical wall next to the flex pod. Those are your drill points. Locate the first drill mark, place the drill on top of the star, and drill. Place the drill on top of the second star. The next step is to take the deck loop and insert it through the end of the female strap. Place one of the 1032 screws through. Install it onto the deck. Place the next screw through. Install it. Next we'll need 2 neoprene combo washers and 2 cap nuts. We'll open the hatch of the boat. We'll place the combo washer so that the neoprene will touch the inside of the hull on either side. Install the cap nuts. Then tighten fully with a 3/8 inch wrench and the Phillips head screwdriver. To install the other side, we'll locate the stars as we did on the first side. Drill those. Insert the deck loop through the male buckle strap. Place a 1032 screw in each side. Put the neoprene washers on the back side. Install the cap nuts. And then tighten with the 3/8 inch wrench and the Phillips head screwdriver. And we'll close the hatch. Lock it in place. Stow the drive. Then tighten the stowage strap. This is Adam from Wilderness Systems. If you have any further questions about the Helix pedal drive, please contact customer service.